Yeah, many of our clients have been developing sustainability programs in recent years to address water conservation. All utilities are limited by the amount of water that they supply to their customers, and mainly, for the most part, utilities have seen growth within their districts, and for one reason or another have had to promote conservation within their district. And that can be done through credits that they provide to customers for water conservation fixtures within the house, and or different types of irrigation restrictions. We've been overextending our water resources, and particularly with regard to groundwater and surface water, we've been drawing down at levels beyond what we're ever meant to, and it has a significant impact on the water quality. We're seeing issues with a lot of our clients with the same water supply that they've been using for years and years are now uh, having significantly different water quality and impacts such as higher salt concentrations, and they've had to have increased treatment of that water in order to provide the same quality water for their customers.
Yeah, in Colorado, it's something like 97% of the water that's consumed goes towards agriculture, but also about it's over half of the polluted stream segments in Colorado are a result of agriculture from one way or another. Historically, if you look at other societies that have been irrigating for a long time, they show that you start getting salinity building up in your water resources. It's usually about 100 years after you start irrigating. And in Colorado and in the West, a lot of our water infrastructure, the dams, the irrigation canals, that type of thing, was put in around the turn of the century or in the Depression in the 30s. And so we're kind of on the cusp here where we're 80 years into our 100 to 80 years into our irrigation. And irrigation is great in one sense that we only irrigate something like 15% of the world's cropland, but that 15% produces almost 40% of the crops. So typically when they irrigate, it's in these, especially out west here, where we have this semi-arid environment, and you have these soils and geology that aren't really used to seeing water. So when you start irrigating in these arid regions, you change the whole hydrologic cycle in those areas. So these natural contaminants that occur in the soils and in the rock that usually just sits in that soil and the rock, when you start irrigating, you dissolve and you mobilize that. And so that those contaminants end up in our groundwater and in the streams. Yeah, well, Australia was doing a lot of things on a big scale and on a small scale. And on the home level, they would do things like all the toilets had a half flush and a full flush. So you could, half flush for number one and full flush for number two to save water. And then they also, the cities gave everybody these little egg timers with a suction cup on it, and you stuck that on your shower, and that egg timer ran for 3 minutes, and everyone was encouraged to take a 3-minute shower. And then the other thing that they did is if you bought a rainwater collection tank, that you could plumb the downspout from your gutter into the tank, and you could plumb that into your house for your non-drinking water to go into like your washing machines and your swimming pool and that type of thing, and to water your yard and garden and that. And the government would subsidize that. On a broader scale, Australia was growing so much that they were investing a lot of money in large infrastructure projects like desalination, and they started pumping treated wastewater, like treated sewage, into some of their water supply reservoirs. So they're treating it to the maximum extent they could, and remove the contaminants, and they would pump it into their water supply reservoir, and that was going to be used as drinking water.
What does the future of water look like? We may one day see water footprint labels on all consumer products. We know that we need more conservation and education programs, not only here, but throughout the entire world. There are already being water restrictions implemented in Denver, and we know that we'll see more in the future. As fresh water becomes more scarce and demand increases, we can expect the value of water to appreciate in the future. The good news is that we have engineers working on the problem, but it will come with a price. Let's work together to make sure that this picture continues to happen throughout the entire world.